The King has cancer. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Recently, there was an announcement from Buckingham Palace which stated, during the King's recent hospital procedure for benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. Subsequent diagnostic tests have identified a form of cancer. His Majesty has today commenced a schedule of regular treatments, during which time he has been advised by doctors to postpone public-facing duties. Throughout this period, His Majesty will continue to undertake state business and official paperwork as usual. The King is grateful to his medical team for their swift intervention, which was made possible thanks to his recent hospital procedure. He remains wholly positive about his treatment and looks forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible. His Majesty has chosen to share his diagnosis to prevent speculation and in the hope it may assist public understanding for all those around the world who are affected by cancer. Accordingly, the troubling news for His Majesty that there has been a cancer diagnosis. No further details have been provided as to what type of cancer it is, nor as to its level of seriousness, although there has been the suggestion that it has been caught early. A serious diagnosis such as this is troubling to the narcissist, because it is a reminder of mortality, and a reminder of mortality is a threat to the notion of control that is staple for the narcissist's existence. There are certain narcissists who, on being told that they are unwell, react in a way which is to almost have some form of meltdown. This is because the threat to control that is manifested by the diagnosis that they have received is so great that the response is one of fear. Remember, narcissists experience fear just like other people. It creates distress and anxiety, and that is a resultant effect of the threat to control posed by the diagnosis. It also is a reaction that's prompted to engender a response from those around the narcissist, so that they express support, sympathy, pity for those circumstances. That, of course, demonstrates that those individuals are under control as a consequence of their compassionate and sympathetic response. It also provides the much-needed fuel to the narcissist. It may also be the case that individuals offer other forms of support, taking the narcissist to hospital appointments, for instance, financial support, looking after them because they may become so unwell that they can't do certain things for themselves, such as cleaning themselves or cooking and such like. And therefore, the response of individuals to this diagnosis to offer such help and provide it is a residual benefit. Remember, a narcissist is not above milking an illness, and in particular a serious illness, for the purpose of the prime aims. But it isn't every single narcissist that responds with a woe is me, oh my goodness me response. There are those narcissists whose response is to exaggerate the seriousness of it. Of course, there are those of you listening who may well have come across certain narcissists who feigned serious illness. That, again, is not uncommon for a narcissist to pretend, for instance, that they have got cancer. That is a revision of history and a lie, which is being utilized by the narcissist for the purposes of engendering a response from people to get to the prime aims. Whilst many people regard that as a wholly reprehensible behaviour, the narcissist does not, because the narcissism deems that it is necessary. And of course, if confronted about the fallacy of the suggestion that they had cancer, they will blame others, a misdiagnosis, for instance, or I never said I had cancer, i.e., it's your fault. The narcissist, I might have had, there was a suggestion possible. I didn't say that I definitely had, you're misremembering. Of course, there's no suggestion here that that's something that Charles has done, but it is worthwhile pointing out that a narcissist will use illness and ill health where it's not actually genuine in order to get to the prime aims. In other instances, where it is genuine, it will often be exaggerated, so that they will use their illness as an excuse not to do things, to explain why they behaved in a certain way, and it becomes an all-encompassing get-out-of-difficulties card utilised by the narcissist for the purposes of getting to the prime aims. As I mentioned, many narcissists utilise it for the purposes of pity plays, to ensure that there is a response which demonstrates that an individual is under control, that enables the narcissist to draw fuel. There are other narcissists that utilise it to show stoicism, that I will not be beaten by this, that they utilise their sense of superiority and invincibility to say, it might be the big C, but it's not going to beat me. And therefore, they make public the existence of this illness, but demonstrate their determination to overcome it. Yes, there may be instances where they will utilise it here and there for a pity play, but overall, they want to be seen as fighting it, because fighting it is more commensurate with their image of themselves of being superior and a battler and a warrior. People's admiration for their never-say-die attitude provides them with fuel and shows that they're under control. Their appreciation for the fact that they've kept going notwithstanding such a terrible diagnosis is also something which provides fuel to the narcissist and fits with that facade of superiority. You're more likely to see such behaviours amongst upper mid-range narcissists and greater narcissists, whereby it's almost, yes, I have cancer, but there's no need to make a fuss about it, plenty of people get it, I will be overcoming it, I'm having treatment, etc. Almost dismissiveness of it. Middle mid-rangers and lower mid-rangers and lessers are more likely to make a song and dance about it, especially middle mid-range A and B and lower mid-range. But there are those narcissists that will treat it dismissively, that will see it as something to be conquered, that they don't believe that someone such as them is going to succumb to such an illness. It also provides an opportunity, of course, to receive various responses. And that's something which has happened for the king, which, understandably, as a consequence of this news being made public, prompted many responses from around the world. For instance, the Speaker of the House of Commons stated, I know the whole House will wish to join me in expressing our sympathies with His Majesty the King following the news announcement. Our thoughts are, of course, with His Majesty and his family, and we all wish to send him our very best wishes for the successful treatment and a speedy recovery following tonight's news, which are undoubtedly followed by a number of hears. Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, stated on X, on behalf of the Labour Party, I wish His Majesty all the very best for his recovery. We look forward to seeing him back to swift, full health. The Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, also on X, wishing His Majesty a full and speedy recovery. I have no doubt he'll be back to full strength in no time, and I know the whole country will be wishing him well. The Health Secretary, Victoria Atkins, welcomed the King's decision to share his diagnosis to assist public understanding as commendable. Wes Streeting, the Shadow Health Secretary, sent his best wishes to the King and his family. Political leaders lined up. Boris Johnson said the whole country will be rooting for the King today. Best wishes to Charles III for a full and speedy recovery. Liz Truss said, sending every best wishes to His Majesty the King and the royal family as he undergoes his treatment for cancer. He will be in our thoughts and prayers. God save the King. Humza Yousaf, the Scottish First Minister, said his thoughts and prayers are with the King as he wished him the very best for a speedy recovery and return to public life. Mark Drakeford, the Welsh First Minister, said, I'm saddened to hear the news that His Majesty King Charles III is facing further health challenges. My thoughts and those of the people across Wales will be with him. Michelle O'Neill, Northern Ireland's new Nationalist First Minister, said, I'm very sorry to hear of King Charles's illness, and I want to wish him well for his treatment and a full and speedy recovery. But the well wishes didn't stop there. There was mention made from President Biden. He said he was concerned about the King and will call him later. Asked about the diagnosis during a visit to Las Vegas, the president said he'd just heard about it, and he said, "I'm concerned about him." Even Republic, the group campaigning to abolish the British monarchy, has wished the king well. The group has protested at several of the key events in the royal calendar since he came to the throne, but they posted on X, "Cancer is an awful disease, and we're very sorry to hear of Charles's diagnosis. We wish him a speedy recovery." The Very Reverend Dr. Lorna Hood, an extra chaplain to the King in Scotland, explained, "It shows this humanity that's there in our monarchy. He's our king, he's a human being, and these things hit us. Just as we've been saying that COVID didn't have any borders, so cancer hits all people at all sorts of situations and all sorts of ways." Justin Trudeau, "I, like Canadians across the country and people around the world, am thinking of His Majesty King Charles III as he undergoes treatment for cancer. We're sending our very best wishes and hoping for a fast and full recovery." Donald Trump has wished the king a fast recovery. The former US president wrote on his platform, Truth Social, "He's a wonderful man who I got to know well during my presidency, and we all pray that he has a fast and full recovery." Thus, best wishes, quite rightfully, being sent to King Charles, all of which, however, is fuel from a variety of tertiary and secondary sources. Now, Charles isn't going to be an individual that's going to dole out pity plays with regard to this diagnosis. Behind closed doors, he may well do so with regard to Camilla, but generally his position will be one of stoicism, that he's going to get the treatment and that he will overcome it. A man who's generally enjoyed rude health throughout his life, and operating from that position of superiority, he will see it as something to be conquered rather than something to be utilised to have people feel sorry for him. Accordingly, this news impacts naturally upon him with regard to his health and also his need for control, but it also leads to a whole raft of further issues with regard to other members of his family and the impact upon them, which I'll also be examining in a number of videos today. I'm H.D. Tudor. Thank you for listening.